Welcome to the Better Pairs Podcast. Join Dr. Jason Fujikawa for his insights on theology, philosophy, culture, and the verbal expressions we use to relate meaning and reality to one another. Make no mistake, this is a podcast for nerds, but particular nerds who are searching for old wisdom made ever new. To learn more about the Better Pairs cultural empire, please visit betterpairs.com. Welcome to the Season 3 premiere of the Better Pairs Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Jason Fujikawa. This episode is on fish, fruit, and fistfuls. The purpose of the episode, like all those of the podcast, is to suggest deeper meanings for the words we employ to express reality each day. Thus, while the positions offered in each episode are in no way definitive and at times rather speculative, it is my hope that they function as timeless attempts at expanding your palette for true and accurate verbal expression. If you disagree with the connection made in the episode, please respond in the comments. If you enjoy this production, I also ask that you like the episode, subscribe to the podcast if you have not already, and send us a comment. This simple task truly helps us reach a wider audience. To receive the transcript of each episode and be the first to learn of Better Pairs announcements, please sign up to our newsletter at the bottom of the page at betterpairs.com. In addition to the Better Pairs podcast, Better Pairs also presents the Kᾰρπός Reserve, our interview series on Rumble and YouTube, which connects old friends over even older classical works that have shaped the life of each episode's guest. They are conversations long overdue and designed to model substantive conversations about the great ideas that you too can have with formerly close friends and family who may have become distant since the last election cycle. Visit our video channels through the links in the description. Finally, the Better Pairs podcast is offered free through the wonder of the internet, but made possible through the continued contributions of our listener audience. This year, we announced our new crowdfunding program, Better Pairs Leaves. The program is simple and some might say elegant in design. Contribute $12 or more each month to Better Pairs and receive a thank you gold back in the mail. It's like a Patreon, but with fractional physical gold instead of behind the scenes and blooper reels. If you have been listening to the Better Pairs podcast or the Kᾰρπός Reserve for some time and recognize that the ideas shared stand out from the other offerings of the internet, are worth sharing, and worthy of your support, this community-driven contribution program is for you. As an additional thank you to our contributors each month from July to December 2024, one lucky supporter will receive a free Better Pairs mug of his or her choice from the Better Pairs market, in addition to the monthly gold back. To learn more, contribute, and read official rules, visit betterpairs.com/leaves. Thank you for your continued patronage of attention and Federal Reserve notes, and now, on with the episode. Season 3, Episode 1, Carpe, Kᾰρπός. The common goldfish, or more exotic, that is, expensive, koi, are members of the freshwater fish family, the Cyprinidae, and are commonly known as carp. Their connection as Cyprinidae to the island of Cyprus, as referenced in our episode on Beatitude, Season 2, Episode 9, is puzzling, as Cyprus is an island of limited freshwater bodies. Nevertheless, the process of naming animals in continuation of the authority given to Adam, Genesis 2:20, appears appropriate in this case. What amusement and pastoral satisfaction can be drawn from the fishbowl frenzy or methodical mouthing of food by this finned fauna? The carp receives its common name perhaps from its insatiable grasping or seizing of food from the Latin verb carpo, of carpe diem fame. Unlike many, if not most, creatures which can regulate the quantity of its nutritive intake, the greedy carp, to the sorrow of many a small, well-meaning child, can overeat to sickness, even death. Indeed, even this vignette of childhood loss offers context to the broader ligamental drama recounted in our very bones. Carpal tunnel syndrome refers to a malady affecting the nerves that pass through the series of 8 carpal bones comprising the skeletal wrist in humans. This anatomic taxonomy seems quite appropriate as the wrist, along with attending fingers and thumb, make human grasping possible. For the ancient Romans, we seize with our carpus, or wrist, but for the Greeks, kᾰρπός also meant fruit, which is an anthropological inquiry of its own. Granted, fruit is a generic term, which we shall examine later in this season as a term describing intended enjoyment. Nevertheless, many things in primitive human life are enjoyed or enjoyable. Roasted fowl or game is certainly enjoyable over hunger. Useful tools are prized and often grasped. Spouses, progeny, and ancestors are also held close and prized. Perhaps, for the early human gatherers, the discovery of fruit not tended or farmed, but grown by the divine in obscurity, was that singular boon which was acquired and enjoyed neither through hunting, fishing, nor human exchange, but existed only to be grasped and taken into oneself. Returning to the Garden of Eden and that first commandment to be fruitful and multiply, see Genesis 1:28, we must ask whether this expression is another hendiades, or 1-2 literary device, in which the fruition and the multiplication are two expressions of the same reality, that is, intentional procreation, or whether fruitfulness includes the aspect of enjoying the created world which has been provided for our first parents. This second interpretation holds merit, in that the enjoyment of the created world is further specified and limited. The command is not to carpete all the carpus of every tree, for the fruit of the tree in the middle of the garden is explicitly forbidden to Adam, and through Adam, Eve. Insofar as the felix culpa of the first couple hinged on a forbidden fruit, this theological truth and anthropological reality must be tempered to avoid certain errant historical extremes. The appeal of the fruit stated in Genesis 3:6, that it is pleasing to the eye, intellect, good for food, body, and useful for attaining wisdom, will, seems to correlate to the evils, the temptations of the world in 1 John 2:16, lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. In this way, the seizing of the forbidden fruit both in the hand and in the mouth is a disordered seizing of authentic goods. What was at stake was not so much the good of the end sought, but the malady caused in the agents, our first parents, by the sinful grasping. To be clear, the Church affirms the goodness of and the desire to perfect the body, intellect, and will, but recognizes that these perfections cannot be reached in a manner contrary to God in his largeness and laws. To properly order our loves is not simply to obey arbitrary rules disconnected from our final end, but rather to participate in God's order. To carpe diem in accord with right reason is to carpe deum. Knowing and obeying the right ordering of loves, to enjoy the right thing in right order is no simple task. There will be failures, sins, and setbacks. To be honest and accurate, we cannot do this on our own. All is not, however, lost. For unlike the greedy goldfish who consumes mere bread unto porcelain perdition, we may receive the fruit of the tree of life, given to us by one who, like the fish, did not fear the wind and waves, not a carp, but a carpenter who offers his body the bread of life. May you find him and seize him, and have life abundantly. The views expressed by Better Pairs contributors are theirs alone, and do not necessarily reflect the views of Better Pairs, its parent company, or any company or organization affiliated with the contributors. For more information, to support Better Pairs, or to shop for Better Pairs merchandise, please visit betterpairs.com.